Hello, welcome to the inside of my car for the time being. In just a second, you should be looking at lovely footage from one of the short little walks in Joshua Tree. My partner and I just decided to kind of take the day and use my America the Beautiful pass that my father got me for Christmas and take some time on some of the shorter trails and walks in Joshua Tree, because Joshua Tree is a really cool national park and I'm a nerd for the desert. So the first little walk we went on is actually the Cholla Cactus Garden, which is right on what is known as the kind of transition zone. And the reason why this is the transition zone is because Joshua Tree National Park actually has this very interesting thing where it's not just one desert. So the whole park itself is a desert, but the actual park is where two different deserts meet. And the transition zone is where you'll see species that exist in both the Mojave Desert, where we were in the last hiking vlog I did when we did the Lost Horse Mine Trail. So that was in the Mojave Desert. And it also has the Colorado or Sonoran Desert, depending on what source you're looking at. Joshua Tree National Park recognizes the Colorado Desert, so we're going to be calling it the Colorado Desert. If you look at field guides like this one, it's noted as the Sonoran Desert. But so I don't know how long exactly the walking footage is over my voice. I don't know exactly how this is all going to come together, but what you see on the little clips and photos from this walk, you primarily see these really fluffy looking plants. Well, they're not actually fluffy. They're a species of Cholla Cactus. Specifically, the ones we're looking at are teddy bear cholla. Now, I'm sure many people who come from the desert have heard of jumping cholla, and that's a very interesting species because there are mechanisms by which the little spiky portions will actually end up in people or critters walking by, whether or not they've come in direct contact with the plant. Not really going to go into that because I haven't been prepared to, but that's really interesting about the jumping cholla specifically. Now, the ones that we're seeing in the Cholla Cactus Garden walk are not jumping cholla. Like I said, they're teddy bear cholla, so they look really fluffy and stuff from afar, but they're actually covered in those really kind of yellowish spikes. And they're still a really cool plant, and they're a really cool cactus species because of, like, not just how many thorns and things they have, but because of how they're actually more barbed and they get stuck in you a little more vigorously than thorns from other species. So that's really interesting, but it's also a thing that makes them more dangerous than other cacti. But that's really cool, and the Cholla Cactus Garden is really cool to look at and kind of see these cacti just going off into the distance up to those hills. And it's also a little horrifying because some of them do overhang the trail a little bit, so you can't exactly walk 2 persons wide on the trail in a lot of places. But it was a fun little walk. Alright, so we are on our second little walk of the day, the Arch Rock Nature Trail, which is a fun, supposedly pretty easy, like 1.3 mile out and back. I think we're gonna probably have lunch at the kind of turnaround point. But in the parking lot for this particular trail is a cute little roadrunner. A photo should be popping up now-ish, that evidently has learned that people will feed them. So here's my little rant about that. While it may seem super cool that wildlife is so tame and will come right up to you, you are not doing them a service by feeding them. Please keep wildlife wild. Pack out your trash. don't feed wildlife, because you're only doing them a disservice. It is not healthy for them to be eating the human food. It is also dangerous for people, and you are basically hurting them because they are not partaking in their natural behaviors anymore. So keep wildlife wild. Don't feed them snacks. While this may just be a little roadrunner, it's like, what bad is going to come of that? If that were like a bear or something, that bear would have to be euthanized because of the negligence of humans. So don't feed the wildlife. But otherwise, enjoy nature. Hashtag give a shit about our public lands. Right, so still on the Arch Rock Trail. I'm just kind of nerding out a little bit because let's talk desert plant adaptations a little. So as we can see, this plant here has these very tiny kind of vertically oriented leaves. That is one adaptation for desert plants, because the limiting thing for desert plants is not the sunlight like in the rainforest where you see these very broadleaf plants. The limiting factor is going to be water. So since sunlight is not their limiting factor, they tend to develop these much smaller leaves that tend to be a little more vertical in orientation. Because if we look here, you can see that instead of sitting like kind of flat out like that, they're kind of more at the upward angle. So that reduces the overall surface area that the sun is hitting constantly. So it kind of helps limit that photosynthesis and helps them save water a bit. If you were here, you'd also see that these leaves are very tough and waxy. So that's another thing, that the cuticle on the leaves helps them not lose as much water here in the desert. So obviously cacti are plants that are going to store water. Other plants have dealt with this whole water situation other ways, like those cute little tiny vertical leaves kind of things. So we just left a little stop at Skull Rock, which is another really cool like erosion thing. And it's another one of those rock features the Joshua Tree is kind of famous for. Joshua Tree National Park is really popular with boulderers and rock climbers for training and things like that, which I'm not really into bouldering because I'm a bit of a weenie. And when I did the Half Dome day hike, the subdome kind of killed me. So I think that rock climbing and bouldering are not a part of my future because, again, I'm a bit of a baby. But Skull Rock is one of those cool like erosion features. I think that we're probably going to head out to Barker Dam as one of our last little stops in the park today, because it's just going on about 1 o'clock in the afternoon and we're only like a 2-hour drive home. So probably one more little stop and then head home because we don't want to be out super late today. My partner has work in the morning and I have school in the afternoon, but my dog gets up at 6 a.m. on the dot, so that means I get up at 6 a.m. on the dot. And staying out late is not really a good plan when I already know I have a morning dog. So probably just one more stop before we head home. We're just still on our way to our next stop, but I just kind of wanted to point out all that lovely white snow on the hillside there. So I know it's not really, it's only kind of in frame now because I should have filmed a few seconds earlier, but yeah, Joshua Tree is one of those fun deserty places. There's some more snow at the top there where they have some points in the park, even though it's desert, when we get these lovely winter storms that Southern California has had for the past week-ish now. They actually do get snow on some of their hilltops despite being a desert. And it's one of those things that we should point out that desert does not mean very hot all the time. There are such a thing as like cold deserts. It just happens that most deserts that one would think of is a hot desert. Desert just has to do with the amount of rainfall. So yeah, there's still some snow sticking around Joshua Tree. We did not hike up there because I am not in the mood for a more intense hike right now. I hurt my knee a couple of days ago because I'm an idiot. So we're just doing a bunch of kind of the shorter nature walky things. So we just finished the Barker Dam Loop, which you should be seeing the videos and images from that as I am speaking to you. And it was quite lovely. Actually, the whole day has been quite lovely. It's been overcast, about 60-ish degrees, and just pretty nice indeed. So that's all been lovely. I do have to apologize to you right now because remember when I said that we weren't going to hit the snow? I accidentally lied. Because as you can see in these two images on the Barker Dam Loop, we did end up running into a little bit of snow. So for any of you saying that there's no snow in the desert, you are wrong. And you can see that just from these two images. Now, it wasn't a whole lot of snow. It was just a little bit what was left over because it has been a couple of days since we got any precipitation, but it's pretty neat. Wasn't expecting to see snow on any of the areas that we were going to go to, but it's been pretty cool. I enjoyed the loop thoroughly. It was very pretty, as you can hopefully see by all of the images and videos that should be playing right now if everything goes according to plan. Also, neato thing we saw, look at these ants. Look at them. They are super cool, and bugs are just so weird, aren't they? But look at these ants. All right, I've probably freaked out people that weren't expecting to see ants that close up right now. And I am sorry, but I'm not really sorry. So anyway, enjoy this last little bit of scenery, and thank you for enjoying my most recent trip to Joshua Tree. And like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz. I'll see you all in the next one.